Muffet McGraw led the Notre Dame women's basketball team to the NCAA Final Four this season for the 9th time. The Fighting Irish ultimately lost to Baylor by just 1 point. McGraw also drew attention for her powerful words about gender inequality.
I'm getting tired of the novelty of the first female governor of this state, the first female African-American mayor of this city. When is it going to become the norm instead of the exception? How are these young women looking up and seeing someone that looks like them, preparing them for the future? We don't have enough female role models. We don't have enough visible women leaders. We don't have enough women in power. And when these girls are coming out, who are they looking up to tell them that that's not the way it has to be? And where better to do that than in sports?
The Basketball Hall of Famer has a better than 77% winning record in her 32 years at Notre Dame. She has been named Coach of the Year 4 times by the Associated Press. McGraw joins us first on CBS This Morning since her headline-making comments. Good morning.
Good morning.
They resonated not just with women, with men, too. My dad, who, of course, brought up your comments. What does it mean that we don't have enough women in power, and what effect does that have?
Well, I think it has a huge effect on our daughters. And when we look at the next generation of women, who are they looking up to say, this is what I want to be? When you have less than 5% of the CEOs in Fortune 500 companies are women. If you look at in the Senate, in the House, we're just so far behind. And if girls aren't growing up and they're not going to the movies and they're seeing things that are directed by women, about women, with leading women, getting paid the same as men, they come out and what do they learn? They learn that men are going to be the lead and men are going to be in charge.
And yet we had Title IX to change things. And yet nearly 80% of all college athletic directors are men. What do you think is key to hiring more female coaches?
Well, I think people hire people who look like them, and you have a lot of white men in athletics, especially as the athletic director, and they're going to hire a lot of men because they're comfortable with that. They're going to look at guys on the men's side and say, hey, why don't you come over and coach on the women's side? We never do the reverse, and I think it's just so important. And the way women go for jobs, we need to be more aggressive.
But where did your passion come from, though, that day? Because were you intending to say that at that particular time, in that particular place?
You know, I was not intending to say that. I don't, my friends go, where did that come from?
Yeah.
But, you know, we had just come through Black History Month, then we had Women's History Month, and I saw someone say, why don't we have Men's History Month? And I said, because men's history is taught in school. We learn about men in the curriculum. We know all about what men did. When I think back, what woman was famous in history when we were in school? And Betsy Ross, you know, and she was famous for sewing. So where are all these great accomplished women?
Yeah, but you know, Muffet, I heard people say, why did she have to say it? Why don't you just do it? Why was it important for you to say it? Because people could say, now you're discriminating against men. You know,
I did do it I've had an all-female staff probably for the past 8 years. I have had men on my staff, and I do hire men. I have a video coordinator and a sports information. I do hire men. But on my staff, I think it's important for the women that we're coaching to look up to that staff and see that. And it's just, we've been so successful. We have great chemistry. I think it's just a great situation. I wish when my former players come out looking for jobs, I wish more women were able to get those jobs, but they're just not out there.
How much of this is a message that you convey to the young women that you coach?
Oh, they get that message all the time. Anytime a prominent woman comes on campus, we had Condoleezza Rice come by a couple of weeks ago, we have them come over and talk to the team because I want them to see these successful women. There really aren't that many of them.
I want to talk about the numbers because this was stunning to me. I touched on Title IX. When it was enacted in 1972, 90% of the coaches of female basketball teams were women. Now it's down to 41%. I thought Title IX was supposed to guarantee equality in education and sports. Why is the number decreasing?
Well, that was the idea. And when it came out, of course, it took 30 years probably for us to get to any kind of equality. I'm not sure we're still there. What happened was when we got to the point in the 90s, they started paying more. That's when the men came in. Suddenly, the salary was worth their time coming over from the men's side. They couldn't break into the men's game. Here's an opportunity on the women's side to make some money.
We've looked at the U.S. women's national soccer team. We've covered that story. For the first time now, all of them are going to sue for equal pay. Are we at a transformational moment, do you think, with women in sports?
Well, I really hope so. We thought maybe when Billie Jean King started it years ago that things would change, and now the women's soccer team is stepping forward and making a big push, and maybe we'll see something from the WNBA.
What still needs to be done?
Lots needs to be done. I think first it starts with hiring women, and I think if girls aren't looking up and seeing these role models, how are they going to learn what it's supposed to be like, and how are they going to believe that they can do it? And if they can't believe it, how are we going to change it?
Pete Buttigieg is your mayor.
He is.
He said you are a leader that he admires. What do you think about Mayor Buttigieg?
I think he's awesome. I was down there for his announcement on Sunday. He's somebody that is a great voice, and he's got a different perspective than we've had. He's young, he knows this generation, and I think he's the future.
Can I just say you're the first Muffet I've ever met my entire life? What is the name on your birth certificate?
It was not Muffet, but it is on my driver's license now. It's my legal name.
You don't want to tell me what it is?
And
If you don't.
Well, it is Anne. My mom's name was Anne.
No, but because here's Muffet, her husband Matt is here, and they have a son Murphy. I'm thinking M is a great letter at your house.
Congratulations on being one of
thank
the
you.
48 women, top 48 women.
Thank you, Coach McGraw. That means a lot coming from you. We'll be right back.